Assalamu alaikum, marhaba, أنا اسمي Sasha. My name is Sasha. Assalamu alaikum and hello. Today I will be talking you through some fantastic and useful greetings. This is more aimed at people who have some experience of Arabic, whether that be modern standard Arabic or indeed the Levantine dialect, which is what I'm teaching. Essentially, the idea is that you'll have some knowledge of letters and how the system of sentences works, but even if you don't, this lesson can be incredibly useful whether you are meeting people who speak Arabic, whether you're in an Arab country, essentially knowing what to say on the ground. And that is absolutely key, because with Arabic, the way that greetings work, there are two key parts. You've got the greeting itself, and then you've got the response. And the response is really key because it's just as important as the greeting. Now, it's quite important to say here that we're going to be talking about religious greetings. However, there's nuance to this in Arabic, because even if you yourself are not religious, and even if you're interacting with somebody who isn't particularly religious themselves or not religious at all, actually where culture and religion intersect is in things like language and greetings. When you're wishing somebody a safe journey, or when you're thanking somebody for their work, or when you're in some cases thanking God for their safe arrival somewhere. So we'll see how they intersect here. Essentially, just bear that in mind, because these are widely used greetings, and as I say, it's really important to know them. So let's get into it. التحيات والردود. Okay. First of all, you've arrived in the country, or even just you've arrived in a place, and the first thing you say, like I said to you, was Assalamu alaikum. And the response, which I think is quite widely known, is Wa alaikum assalam. Now you'll notice here I've got the Arabic and I've got the what we call Arabizi, which is essentially Arabic transcribed into English so that it's better understood. What I work towards with my students is to try and get them gently starting to read Arabic. It's just helpful for producing correct sounds and feeling like you're getting to know the language as well, and you're able to kind of relate signs to sounds. So, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and then peace be upon you. It's always in the plural form, mostly. We never say always with language. It's mostly in the plural form. Assalam alaikum. Kum being plural. Wa alaikum assalam, even if you're talking to an individual. There are some cases, for instance, in church when you're praying, and you might say Assalamu alayki ya Maryam, and then the prayer continues, which is particular to that kind of style of prayer. But generally speaking, when we're talking to people, it's Assalamu alaikum, whether you're talking to a big group or one person individually. Okay, that's Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Next, we have marhaban. Now, marhaban is a general greeting. It's just as respectful as Assalamu alaikum. There is some difference in the sense that this is not religious at all, has absolutely no religious connotations. Essentially, it's kind of the adverb of welcoming, welcome. And sometimes people say marhaban back to the person, or they say ahlan to marhaban. Or if you're getting more fun, and especially if you're working in the dialect, you would say marhabtin. That's a fun one. Or ahlin instead of ahlan. But in a more sort of modern standard Arabic context, we're talking about marhaban, ahlan. Okay. Moving on to the next one I've got here. صباح الخير, صباح الخير. And then صباح النور. I was going to say صباح الورد because that's another way you can say it, the response. But صباح الخير usually indicates the response صباح النور. صباح الخير is good morning. And the response is صباح النور. And صباح النور means morning of light. صباح الخير means morning of goodness in general. Now, again, you can make this more fun because especially with the Levantine dialect, a lot of people will extend this greeting back and say, so somebody will say صباح الخير and then somebody will come back and say صباح النور, صباح الورد, صباح الفل, naming flowers and صباح الياسمين or everything like that. It's a really fun one and you can do a lot with it. Okay, next we have مساء الخير. مساء الخير, evening, good evening. And then مساء النور. So it's interesting that that's the same response for the evening. So the greeting is different, but the response is actually the same. But you wouldn't be so flowery with the language. You would probably just say مساء النور. So I've got that here and in Arabizi. So essentially you've got مساء, and the two will represent a glottal stop, a hamza, which is a glottal stop. So مساء, and it continues مساء النور أو الخير. Okay, you've arrived somewhere and you've maybe gone into somebody's house or you've come to somebody's country even, and they might say to you, they probably definitely will say to you, أهلا وسهلا, أهلا وسهلا, يا 100 أهلا وسهلا, 100 أهلا وسهلا. The fun thing about أهلا وسهلا, let's break it down. أهل means family. So one of the ways of saying family. سهلا or سهل is a plain. It's like kind of the connotations of it being quite a fruitful plain of between a valley and a geographical plain where things grow. And it's really nice because essentially it's saying sort of family, and you are our family. We are in this kind of fruitful, lovely environment together. That's nice, and not many people know that that's what that means. أهلا وسهلا, and then you say, and this will definitely happen, you say أهلا فيك or أهلا فيكي or أهلا فيكم. Now the differences here are أهلا فيك for a male, for one guy, أهلا فيكي for one female, and then أهلا فيكم, أهلا فيكم. Now when I said for one male or for one female or for a group, that's who you're addressing. So are you addressing a male or a female or a group? This becomes more obvious when you study pronouns and the way they connect to verbs. Okay, the next one is Alhamdulillah ala salama. And then the response is Allah yusalmak. Now this is a great one when you've maybe arrived somewhere, you've arrived in a country or after a long journey, and somebody says to you, Alhamdulillah ala salama. This means thank God for your safe arrival. And then you're saying, may God also protect you and make you safe and keep you healthy. So this is a really nice one. Finally, and perhaps my favourite, is يعطيك العافية. Response being Allah يعافيك, Allah يعافيك, Allah يعافيكي, and then Allah يعافيكم for a group. This is a lovely one, and this basically is so versatile because you can use it for saying thank you for your efforts. You might say it to a supermarket assistant. You might say it to a person, a street cleaner. You might say it to a teacher. You might say it to a friend. Essentially, anybody who's doing any work or help of any kind, this is a nice one to use. It says thank you. It says well done for your work. It says everything in one lovely phrase. So that's really nice. Thank you very much. Shukran jazilan, and see you soon, inshallah.